following instructions given.
Good evening. We are live. And joining me for his first live experience of the season, we have done a squad rotation at the last to avoid a £5,000 fine. Craig Fimbo. Craig, how are you?
Yeah, all right. Thank you very much. Yeah, I stepped in last minute when Seb pulled his hamstring in the warm-ups. I've done an Emir Hughes and taken his Wolfenden place on the bench.
Yep. Good evening, James. Welcome to everyone who's just joining us. Full-time Ipswich 2, Gillingham 0. Did you see that come in, Craig? That's a relatively... We'll talk all about it because there will be people who chose not to spend £10 on an EFL stream. So we'll talk all about it. But yeah, what we going into it? Were you apprehensive? And now are you a little bit happier?
I think it was just a nice, tidy performance, wasn't it? I think, to be fair, we'd have got everything out of it we wanted to get out of it. As George says, there, it's a great result. It was just a decent performance. And as I say, I think in terms of what we would have wanted for the kids to get out of it, they'd have got out of it in spades, wouldn't they? You know, crikey,
Yes.
Got a team full of 17 and 18-year-olds up against. I appreciate it wasn't the strongest Gillingham team, but there were still half decent players. Akinde's there, he's got a couple hundred games behind him playing up front. And there were some really, really promising performances, I think, all round.
Yeah, so we'll talk through that. We'll talk through the lineups, some new names for people, some certainly some people to be following on social media after tonight as well. So we want to hear from you guys as well. Ping us your comments, ping us your opinions on Gillingham, the petition for getting fans back in the ground might be closing in on the £100,000. £100,000. If only. 100,000 signatures needed to be debated in Parliament. So if you haven't signed that, that's on our Twitter. Also want to hear about that. But looking ahead, Craig, we'll also talk about a fixture on Saturday. We thought we were having a weekend off. We thought that, we were the days of dropping the international games was over. But no, we want games. We want Blackpool away on a Saturday, a miserable Saturday. So we'll talk about that. Just on the petition, thank you, Mark, just past 104,000. So that is going up really well. George has mentioned that as well. So good news, and keep signing it. The more people, the bigger the point is made, I think. So
yeah, that's right. And the thing is as well, not without wishing to go all political this early. Boris Johnson's come out and said we need to get people into cinemas and what have you. Well, I know I'd rather be, if I was given the choice, an open air stadium, with a fraction of the people in there rather than a enclosed area. So I think there's a half decent argument there, isn't there? I think it's just a bit of a slipshod.
Yeah,
decisions being made at the moment, aren't there? No, exactly.
Right. Well, let's get on to Gillingham. Evening, everyone. You're very welcome to join us. Let us know in the comments how things went for you tonight and thoughts on Saturday. Already getting some opinions on Saturday as well, so we will come back to those. Let's just go through the lineup then, Craig. I've got that here. I'll just put that on the screen and cover our faces momentarily so we can look through this. This is from SofaScore. I don't think this was a 4-2-3-1 in the end. I think this was more of a 4-3-3, the normal 4-3-3 that we've been playing. No surprises, I guess, for you that Cornell was in goal, but an interesting back line there, including one Elkan Baggott, who we will talk more about as we go.
Yeah, definitely. I think it was a little bit different. Well, or was it? I'm just trying to think in terms of, I think it started off very early that Lancaster was playing behind Simpson, but then the first half especially, both Lancaster and Dobra were dropping too deep to give any support to poor old Simpson up front. He was very much a lone figure, wasn't he? Up there by himself. Falami played a little bit out of position on the left, but came good in the second half. But yeah, it's good that there is some consistency. We're talking about consistency of selections and consistency of formations. And one of the things that Lamb said when he came in was, he wants all the teams for all the ages to be playing the same way, just so they can make their way up and slot in where required. Well, yeah, let's see.
Yeah, well, some names to call. I mean, just some statistics for you, which is a nice, easy word to say. The average age of the team is 20.7. And if you take out Di Cornell, who's 29, the average age is 19.9. I don't know how the 0.9s work, but let's say 21 and 20, which is pretty young. Going through there, so Baggett, who we mentioned, Indonesian under 19 international. I think we'll be hearing more about him. 17. Liam Gibbs, 17. Armando Dobra, 19. Corey Ndarba's only 20. Feels like he's been around for a while. Wolfie, 21. Brett McGavin, have I mentioned? Jack at Lancaster, 20. Falami, 21. This is a young team, but as Joe points out on the ITFC Academy Twitter, these are players that have played alongside each other, and that familiarity, those patterns of play that we've talked about with the senior team, you can already see them established with these under 18, under 21 players who've been playing with each other, if you pardon the expression, for quite some time.
You could tell, couldn't you? You could tell that they were all used to playing each other, that you could tell that they trusted each other to collect the balls in tight areas. Certainly McGavin and Gibbs in the centre there, they were taking the ball. They were always showing for the ball and wanting the ball. And so you could just tell that they'd all been coached to play a certain way, and I say we're all happy to do it, and I say confident that the guys they were passing to would look after the ball if they did.
Yep. So 19 of the 11 starters from the academy, 6 out of the 7 on the bench, also from the academy. Only Thomas Holy not from the academy. Dylan Crowe, who's been in and around the kind of under 23s, and people were thinking he's the next big thing. He was on the bench right back. Tommy Smith, Xander Zaziba, Alan Viral, Zach Brown, and Ross Crane, who signed from Bury in the summer. They were the bench. Any thoughts on the bench, Craig?
I must admit, during the second half, I was a little bit. I wouldn't have minded seeing Crowe playing a little bit instead of Diallo. Donatian. Just
George Santos, bring him back as well. Yeah.
I think it must have been with the throw-ins. Just to see what he's, just to see what he's like in that right back, because I say that of the positions that we've got in the first team area, the fullbacks are the ones that we spoke about Sunday. We're lacking real competition and backup in. So as you say, it wasn't that long ago that he was being touted as one of the next big things to come through the academy, and it's just fallen away for whatever reason. So it would have been nice just to see him and see what he could do. But
yeah, one of those players who's kind of coming out the other side of that kind of experience is Corey Ndaba, who played at left back. So we are going to talk about Blackpool later on. But a lot of people, the consternation, you guys talked about on the pod about playing so soon, was Ward's injury at MK Dons, and Corey Ndaba, left footer. This was an interesting experiment, wasn't it? Not that he had much to do, but is he giving himself a chance on Saturday?
Yeah, I don't know. I thought of the back four. I thought he looked. Well, no. To be fair, I thought both our fullbacks sort of struggled to help with the attacks, and certainly in the first half, they did. The formation that we play is very reliant on our fullbacks getting forward and helping out with the attacks. It's quite apparent in our first team play that the centre halves are often looking for that opposite diagonal to the fullback on the other side, aren't they? As an out ball and as a start of attack. So I say he did fine, but I wouldn't say he stood out particularly.
What about Joe's point here? So evening to Joe, who is out and about, I think, on a few days off. Ndaba at left back, do enough to put pressure on Kenlock, less so Ward if he's out. Kenlock didn't put in a great display, did he?
No, he didn't. No.
So who would you have? I'm going to put you on the spot.
You were probably putting pressure on Kenlock, to be fair. I don't think he's done enough. No. Okay. Kenlock's a fullback, isn't he? I appreciate he's not having the greatest time of it at the moment, but I'd still have Kenlock above Ndaba. But then if they just want to go with a more solid defensive fullback, just more of a stopper, I appreciate it. Ndaba's more cultured than that, but if you want a 6 foot left back, then hopefully it won't come to it, because we're waiting to hear from the club on Ward and on Downs, aren't they?
Yeah, it'd be good to get Ward back in the team.
I'm sure the questions are being asked right now as we're speaking, to be fair.
Yes. Well, if anyone's is on the Twitter at the same time, let us know what we hear from Lambert on injuries to Downs and Ward. Let's just go through the Gillingham team. So again, the formation that I will put that very briefly because I'm not sure we're particularly excited about Gillingham, but suggests it's a 4-3-3 for them. The only things that I wanted to mention was the goalkeeper, I think, played guitar for Eagles for a while. Christian Magoma is the younger brother of Jacques Magoma, who who went down easily for Birmingham City in a 1-0 defeat for Ipswich. I think it was in 2018 at Birmingham, which I remember being a little bit annoyed about. And you mentioned John Akindi. Yeah, 323 league starts for John Akindi. So certainly plenty of experience in him. But otherwise, a fairly inexperienced Gillingham team there. The bench, all of the bench, I think, played against Shrewsbury at the weekend. So plenty of experience there. Only Zach Medley and Jack Tucker featured at the weekend. Let's go into the action. And again, we've got plenty of comments on the goals. Any thoughts on any of the key bits of action that we might have missed? But the first few things I've got are chances for Falami that kind of bookend the beginning and then end of the first half, 5 minutes. Ball over the top from Wolfenden. Nice cutting from Falami. And not a great finish, is it, Craig?
No. And it's, as you say, he had two chances in that first half, and they're both very similar, pretty limp, side-footed finishes, weren't they? Where you'd think, well, at least one of them, stick your foot through it or get a bit of power. But they were both weirdly limp efforts.
And that was certainly the effort on 5 minutes was a precursor for probably Gillingham's best pattern, best spell of the match, really, wasn't it? It wasn't. I mean, they had some spells in the second half, and Dominic Samuel will talk about his second half performance. A low shot from Willock, which pretty straightforward for Cornell, but this is a really good one. McDonald is who cuts in from the left, and it's a nice kind of curling shot. We've got a good angle for once. The ITC a little bit less, what's the word, frenetic than maybe previously. It's a nice shot. Camera save from Cornell.
Yeah, it was, wasn't it? Yeah, it was a camera save. Yeah. He could have called it. I'm sure he could have done it if he wanted to. But as you say, put nice height. Just get his reflexes going. Get a bit of a stretch on.
Don't we? Yeah. Evening, Ginger Eagle. I am on the ghost ship tonight. I'm staying local. So good evening to you, Craig. You got Adams as well, haven't you, on the go?
I have. Yeah. We're on brand here. I'm using my Adams.
That is
tankard.
Lovely.
Yeah. Use my Adams tankard to drink my. Well, we were just talking about this, Rich, weren't we? I'm on the new
Cabolo.
Cabolo, isn't it? Yeah. He's also the left back for someone in the Premier League.
Nice. Drink responsibly, everyone.
It's all right, but
yeah, I think we'll stick with the ghost ship. 30. So 30 minutes. Amanda Dobra tries something. This is out of the Jim Magilton school of shooting. Craig, do you want to talk us through this one?
Yeah.
Are you excited by this?
Well, as Darren Ambrose said, didn't he, in the commentary? It's good that he tried. It's good that he attempted it. And to be fair, of the players on the pitch, probably him and Lancaster are the ones that you'd want it to have fallen to, and they're probably the two that would have attempted the shot as well, aren't they? So it just goes to gives you a little bit of a snippet of what sort of player we know Dobra is like, and he's likely to try that and then roundhouse the centre half and
dashing back to
wander off down the tunnel.
But it was a good, and I got involved in a Twitter conversation with him at half time, courtesy of someone else. I thought Darren Ambrose was man of the match tonight in terms of. I thought he was an excellent summariser on the commentary, don't you?
Yeah, he was. Yeah, he was good, and he's getting everywhere. He's on Talk Sport a lot, isn't he? Him and Benty have got some sort of show going on. I notice. Like two Ronnies, aren't they, on Talk Sport at the moment?
They're definitely raising the standard of punditry on Talk Sport, if you ask me.
They've obviously got, I imagine, the same agent, haven't they? And managed to wangle themselves in there. But no, he was good. He was very, very good. And he was very often he was ahead of the game, wasn't he? In terms of he was picking up on stuff literally beforehand, which is what you want from your co-commentator.
Yeah, he's he made a couple of points about empty stadia as well, which I'd be interested to get comments and views on this as well. And we've talked about the empty stadia maybe giving players a little bit of respite from abuse and maybe the pressure. But Ambrose was of the opinion that players and maybe officials, the decision making or their reactions are heightened by the crowd being there. You know,
bit of an edge,
a missed tackle or a missed pass. You know, the crowd's getting a little bit angsty about that is a good thing, and the referee maybe keeps his cards in his pockets more where the crowd might get a player booked.
Yeah, I just wondered.
That was an interesting thought.
Yeah, absolutely. And I know, because Brendan was saying, well, yes, some players will benefit from it. Well, he's talking about Nsiala, I would have thought, pretty much. You know, if Nsiala makes a mistake, then he does tend to get the crowd on his back, and he's definitely benefited from, you know, a misplaced pass here or there in the first team games, and just carrying on without having any grief. But I just wonder whether someone like, I'm not picking him out, but someone like Wolfenden, who we know he's casual, he's laid back, he plays that way, but sometimes just wonder whether he's a bit too casual and needs the crowd to say, "Come on, mate, you know, yeah, hang on a second, you know, don't be too bloody laid back about all this. Get your arse in gear," sort of thing. So he may be one of the ones that you know, would benefit from it. Not, I don't mean that in a, you know, he deserves the stick, but he just well, you know, he may, you know, benefit from just having a bit of a snap about
it. Means more, doesn't it? As the advert says, it means more when the supporters in the ground, and you know, I'm not of alcohol, betting.
Anything else?
No, manscaping products. No, we don't want to go there. A quick one from Mullet. I think we probably can't afford him, but we'll ask. You know, maybe people would like to come. You know, they'd like to offer themselves to this show. Yeah, half ended with another kind of limp effort from Falami. Who was your pick in the first half? I've kind of noted, as what you just said, Wolfenden was fairly calm. There wasn't a huge amount of threat for them to worry about. Dobra, his usual self. Cornell, we've certainly got a view on Cornell. I'm just going to put that up now. Better with his feet than Holy, but Ian Peters. I mean, did he do enough to replace Holy? I think the rotation policy is gone now, so that won't happen. But is the opinion of Cornell increasing more and more as we see him?
Probably. I think we only really saw him in those pre-season games, didn't we? And saw obviously the mistake he made in the first match. Was it the Spurs match? He made the mistake in passing it out from the back. But you know, he's been solid enough. But I think we're at the position whereby we don't want to be changing the team unnecessarily. If Holy starts making mistakes which are leading to goals, or is getting, you know, horrendously edgy, or, you know, it's obvious to all and sundry that he's a mistake waiting to happen, then so be it. I think if you start making changes now to a team that's you know, not lost yet and has only conceded one goal, then you know, you're making a rod for your own back further down the line, because the guy that's being dropped thinking, well, hang on a second, you know, I haven't done anything wrong. And because there were calls on, messages into the Sunday pod about bringing in Wolfenden. You know, let's drop Wilson or NCI. I think, well, these guys have done nothing wrong. We appreciate, in the whole scheme of things, Wolfenden probably he's probably a better footballer and arguably a better defender, but you wouldn't want it the other way around. Whereas if he was playing, getting dropped for those two, you can't have it. You know, you can't have it both ways. If they're playing well, you know, to their ability, and the team's doing well, then we're not in any position to ask anyone to be dropped or replaced.
No. So HCH question here about appreciating trophy games used for fitness. Wolfie looked offered to him. I thought, to be fair to Wolfenden, he didn't have a huge amount to kind of prove fitness about. There wasn't any kind of last tackles or having to run after a man there. And Lancaster may be a little bit for HCH as well. These guys are not going to get into the starting lineup barring more injuries, are they, Craig? So is it just about building fitness to be bench options for you?
I think you just need to caveat all of these performances with the fact that these guys haven't played football, have they? They're going to be rusty. They haven't started football matches for God knows how long on a regular basis. So they're going to take time to get match sharp and, you know, get the timing right, whether it be runs or, you know, touch or, knowing where other people are running off and things like that. So because I started off watching the match and thought, bloody hell, yeah, Wolfenden is looking sloppy or casual, but then
MH has made that point here. I don't think there are a lot of mistakes. I think you're right. It was just sloppiness. Maybe we could put that down to sharpness. There were just a few casual passes, but then
casual. He was casual.
He'd ping a lovely ball over to Falami and stuff like that. So
but that's when I think he'd probably benefit from having a crowd there just to sort of bring, because I'm sure the management team are doing it themselves, but he just needs a crowd there just to keep him on his toes and shake him out of it, really, sort of thing. I know we all appreciate the sort of player he is and the sort of personality he is, but you still need. I just wonder whether he didn't benefit from having Ward in one ear and Chambers in the other ear. You see what I mean? Just keeping him.
He's the leader tonight, I guess, isn't he?
Although, exactly that.
Captain,
exactly.
Let's talk about his centre-back partner, though. Good evening, Indonesia. I don't know what time it is. I guess it's probably
early
the middle
morning.
Of the night, I guess. Your thoughts on Baggett? I thought this is a cliche, so bear with me, but he looks like a footballer. Do you know what I mean? He's kind of got the stature. Only 17. Looked pretty calm, composed, didn't he? What was your thoughts on the potential latest hero for the next of the hopefully the next one off the assembly line at the academy?
Yeah, he looked good, didn't he? I do appreciate. And to be fair, he was up against a Kinder. He's no mug, and it would have been nice to have seen in the nicest possible way to see Baggett get clattered or elbowed or do you know what I mean, just to see how he reacted. Yeah, but he's going to get it in. He's going to get it in League One, isn't he? We could, these under 23 games and under 18 games are played at a certain pace. But to be fair to him, he's not say he strolled through the game, but he just looked a footballer, didn't he? And what Ambrose picked up on, he was saying about he's happy to accept any sort of weight of pass into him. But what I noticed, and what I quite like, was his passing was crisp, and it wasn't really ever overhit when he was passing to someone. Whereas we're used to seeing our centre halves not have maybe from 0 to 11 in terms of volume of pass. He seemed to have the steps of pass he needed to just to make sure it got to where it needed to go at the right sort of pace. He just looked a nice calm footballer with 54,000 Instagram followers.
Join him. But 17, and that bodes really well. And going back to Wolfen, we've had quite a few comments on Wolfen. Mullet makes the a valid point here about walking Baggett and Ndaba through early doors.
Yeah, well, we said he was the senior. He's the senior. Well, apart from the right back, he was the senior centre half certainly, and the senior defender to a certain extent, wasn't he? Which isn't his normal role.
MH, I mean, if you can do the research for us, MH. 54.4k followers on Insta, so he's obviously doing something right. So
during the game I was looking it up because we were chatting about it on the WhatsApp, and I happened to have his Instagram up, but I noticed that 54 is that a normal amount for a League One 17-year-old footballer? But so I checked. I thought, well, who's going to be our most high profile player on Instagram? I thought, well, it's probably Norwood for one reason or another. And he had about 19,000. So he's got pretty much 3 times as many followers.
Wow. I mean, name an Indonesian footballer.
Apart from the obvious. Yeah.
There you go. So I think...
Name a 6'4" Indonesian footballer.
What we're saying is Indonesian shirt sponsor. Yeah. Indonesian... we bloody love Indonesia. I mean...
Garuda Airlines. We always travel Garuda.
I mean... HCH Indonesia does have a population. Yeah, what I'm saying is this is
tap into it.
Tap into it, Marcus. Tap into it.
The next Blue Monday podcast will be live from Jakarta.
Exactly right. Yeah. Let's get on to the second half because we actually have proper action.
And we won't be drinking local Suffolk ale. We'll be drinking Indonesian pale ale.
Sure. I bet they.
It's a lovely drop as well.
I wouldn't be surprised if maybe that isn't a big thing over there, but maybe I just need to do more research. I mean, the first action I've got in the second half is the 57th minute, and that's the goal. But Dominic Samuel came on, ex-ITFC, loanee, came on for Matthew Willock at half-time. But this goal, Craig, I mean, this is what we know that, this is the creative attacking Dobra that we've seen shades of. But I mean, lovely goal.
Yeah, and the thing is, of all the, well, probably of all the players on the pitch, I was going to say of all the midfielders, but of all the players on the pitch, he was the one that every time he got the ball, he looked to make something happen. And we know that's what he does anyway, doesn't he? He gets the ball and he twists and he turns and he tries to get forward with the ball. And invariably it's with the ball rather than passing it forward. He's trying to get forward with the ball himself. I think his performance deserved a goal, and yeah, it sort of opened up nicely for him. But yeah, it's a hell of a finish, isn't it? It's similar to the one we did in the first half that Cornell saved, but this was hit with proper power. Yeah, proper power, like an arrow, and it's still on its way up when it hit the net. It's lovely, as you say, lovely goal.
Well deserved, and good work from Simpson as well. Lancaster, I think, plays it into Simpson. He's kind of closed down really quickly, Simpson, but he just pods the ball out into Dobra's
Yeah,
path.
Simpson did okay, didn't he? He did as much as you can sort of. So first half, nothing was really sticking to him, but he wasn't getting any support up there to help him. But he's played 90 minutes and he's done a half decent job. I'd say he's still a bit rough around the edges, but he's a unit. He's a physical specimen to stick up there.
But to put him on the bench, and ironically. He had a cameo away at Blackpool last season. I was there to see it. He looked all right. Again, not a huge amount to talk about. 64. Falami has this chance here. It's a lovely run by Dobra into Lancaster in the number 10 position, as we said. And Falami takes the ball into the left-hand side of the area and gets this one all wrong. It kind of goes out for a throw-in.
Yeah.
Perhaps wrong-footed there. I don't know. No. But he does get back because Gillingham break and concedes a corner, but does really well to defend that. And then this is where things get a little bit sloppy from Wolfenden. He clears the ball to Akindi, who gets out wide to Coyle. His cross is headed over by Samuel, who was missing chances left, right, and centre. But 74 minutes. This kind of comes out of the blue, doesn't it? This goal. Again, it's Dobra who's involved, and brilliant work from Gibbs, makes something out of nothing, Craig.
Yeah, and he had he had a quiet game, didn't he, Gibbs? Out of him and McGavin, he was probably the quieter of the two. Again, caveating the fact that the poor kid's only 17 years old, but yeah, he broke down the right, didn't he? And he won the ball. It's very similar to a couple of the goals that we scored in last year's EFL, wasn't it? When Dobra did that, didn't he? He had a period where he was continually robbing people of the ball down that wing and crossing it in. I think it was Jordan Roberts that was scoring the goals on those occasions, wasn't it? But yeah, no, he did well. He won the ball, got the cross in, and Falami, obviously, he's more used to being a central striker than a wide striker, but he did what Sears tries to do and Edwards tries to do for the first team and cut in from their wing, and had a lovely run. Joe highlighted it, and you watch it on the replay. He sort of jogs towards the back post, and then as the ball comes in, he darts towards the front. It's sort of a textbook. Yeah, centre forwards run, isn't it?
Yeah. HCH here saying, I think Dobra is the player that comes out with the most credit tonight. We'll talk about others in a second. The thing about Dobra when he gets game time is that he's fouled so often. Signs of a player who scares the opposition. But he gets booked, as we know. Yeah. There's a temper there, but
it's also a sign if he knows he gets those fouls, isn't he? There's occasions where he can see the players coming and he'll just nick it away from them just before the tackle comes in, just to get that foul, which is a skill in itself.
Gibbs then, I thought Gibbs was quite quiet. MH thought Gibbs did well tonight. I think he did well for the goal, and maybe it got confidence after that and then was subbed, I think. But your thoughts on Gibbs?
Yeah, well, he's probably the next level down from McGavin, isn't he? And I thought it sort of showed. He was quiet, but he was tidy enough, wasn't he? He didn't do anything wrong. But in the first half, he hardly got the ball at all. In the first half, it was all pretty much McGavin and Lancaster in that central three. But again, he's just a tidy footballer. What I noticed in the first half, especially, was you notice the difference between having Dazelle in the team in that sort of area, because when Dazelle plays, he gets the ball and plays the passes, and he plays a sharp, crisp passes, whether they be forward or sideways. It just gets us moving and sets the tempo. Whereas I think in the first half we were just a little bit pedestrian and a little bit slow, and played a lot of football in front of Gillingham, didn't we? Rather than ever getting really further at the pitch. But what Dazelle does, he'll get that ball in tight areas and he'll ping it forward, won't he?
Yeah, he turns, doesn't he, as well? So
yeah,
that's the difference. And Gibbs has not played much. I think maybe did he play a little bit of the last season's EFL Trophy as well? I'm trying to remember back to Peterborough and the like, but
yeah, I don't know. I went to all the home ones, but I can't recall. He may have come off the bench, but I can't recall him starting. He'd only been 16, wouldn't he? So unlikely.
True. Yeah. I mean, there's not much more action. Thank you, by the way, to Justin for the like on Facebook. Hello to Facebook. We're doing more and more bits and pieces on Facebook. So if you haven't followed us or liked us or whatever you do on Facebook, I'm figuring it out again. Having given it a wide berth for a while. So good evening to Facebook as well as everyone else on YouTube and Twitter. Hello to you, Justin. Big opportunity here, 78-4, a 4 versus 2 situation. And again, Gibbs, a little bit of rush to the blood to the head, perhaps. The pass is a little bit kind of too far ahead of Simpson, a little bit too close to the defender. And yeah, it's a big opportunity there, which is kind of spurned a little bit. 80 minutes. Steve Evans was here tonight, by the way. We didn't see a huge amount of touchline antics, but there's no one really there to watch it. But he got a little bit of a telling. I think there was a little bit of a tense moment.
Yeah, in the last 5 minutes, so the ref went and talked to him. I don't know how the 7 o'clock kickoff would have affected his meals routine.
Okay,
it's going to affect one of them, isn't it?
Throughout the day, doesn't
yeah,
so
he might get enough calories.
I thought he'd be shielding Craig, but anyway, never mind. 81, and this is for any fans of squad numbers. Number 52, Ross Crane, who we mentioned before, he comes on for Dobra, who didn't look particularly happy about that. What's your reading of Dobra being sub and having a bit of a mardy face?
Yeah, right. Good, can't he? Yeah, good. Yeah, he scored a goal. He probably wanted to stay on and see if he could take the piss a bit more and score another, didn't he? So
right. There's a spate of free kicks towards the end as well. All of them pretty lousy, to be honest. Coyle through the wall. Samuel has his typical moment of he has a really great opportunity to preview two and then goes all Hollywood and tries to shoot from 30 yards and gives gives away a yellow, gets a yellow for a foul there. Free kick Eccles way over the bar, and then Eccles gets involved down the other end, dives in on Lancaster and McGavin, who I think didn't shine as too much apart from just be tidy and effective. But his free kick is just over the bar. Samuel can shank one wide near the end. And Craig, in the end, despite not having a huge amount of efforts on goal, that was a fairly comfortable performance, wasn't it?
Yeah,
for a really young team.
Yeah, the second half made it, didn't it? I think the first half was pretty non-eventful, didn't it? Wasn't it? Nothing much happened. I say we were passing it around, nigh on 70% possession, but it was all middle third, final third, in our half, our defensive third. But so I think just getting Lancaster and Dobra further up the pitch helped us on the ball. Just helped us getting, having a few more chances. Second half, Falami I thought was quiet, but I appreciate he's playing out of position, wasn't he, on the left hand side? He barely had a touch for about 20 minutes in the first half. But he popped up and.
But then Ambrose said that the balls weren't, he wasn't getting too much of the ball.
He was being told to stay there, wasn't he? They were saying that.
Hug the line and stuff like that.
Yeah.
We'll go through the comments because a lot of people have got thoughts on this, so we'll come to those. I just wanted to mention again for fans of squad numbers, number 55, Xander Ziba from Zimbabwe, he comes on. And 56, Alan Viral, who's hoping that his time with Ipswich will go and blow up and be really. I was trying to make a joke about being viral there. I don't want to use the C word, so I'll just abandon that joke straight away. They almost don't. They come on for 10 seconds, don't they? 10, 20 seconds there. But that's the game. Let's go to the comments then. I'm going to go back through because lots of good points, and I don't want to miss out on them. Chris, evening to you, Ludicrous Ways. We've kind of dealt with the Ndaba thing. But your thoughts on his general performance, Craig? We've mentioned not too much to do, but it's minutes, isn't it?
Yeah. He was fine. He was fine. I would say I wouldn't say he's done enough to be a starting first 11 left back.
Not quite.
I don't know. He hasn't. I can't imagine he's played there particularly. He looked like a centre half playing left back to my eyes.
Thank you for the like, Adam, on Facebook. Evening to you. Evening HTH. We've already been chucking in your comments and keep them coming so far, but this is your first one of the night. What's happened to Cotter? He was in the under-23s that played Cardiff earlier in the day. Looked pretty good. What's happened to Barry Cotter? I mean, I guess the easy answer, Craig, is we don't know.
We don't know. Yeah.
It's a strange situation there, isn't it? Is there this kind of aura or mystique about him because of the McCarthy's departure and his kind of...
His debut was half decent, wasn't it? You know, he was getting the ball and herring forward with it and pinging passes here and there and everywhere, and hasn't been seen since. So, you know, who are we to say? We can't say what's happening, if there's anything happening behind the scenes, or if he just needs a bit of a kick up the bum to bring him back down to it. We don't know, but from what little we have seen of him in the first team, he's done enough. But you know, he hasn't been seen for a couple of years yet, has he?
Yeah, that's a shame, that one, isn't it? Evening to George. James Ant didn't get more minutes. Great player. Played with him for a few years for a school team. Well, let us know more about that, George. I'm interested to know about that. And evening to you. Hello, Mark. Go and follow ITFC Unrestricted for his podcast. Big fans of that. Man of the match performance from Craig. That was early doors. That was 3 minutes past 9 that Mark made that suggestion that a man of the match performance from Craig. It's going all right, Craig. You're doing all right. Have you got the Potmaster book out just in case, though?
I have got it behind me, actually. Yeah. Okay. Just in case we dry up, I can sort us out a quick 3 and 10 if you wish.
I'm useless, and that is definitely. We'll do a live show at some point, and we'll crowbar some Potmaster. We'll find a way to make it Ipswich related. I quite like to bring the two worlds together. HDH still icy between Evans and Lambert at the end. Yeah, we've talked about that. I'm not surprised. That is not going to get resolved anytime soon. There is not any kind of therapy or counselling those two guys. I'm not sure he's a huge fan of conciliation, is he, Steve Evans, in the whole scheme of things? Well, I don't think either of them are, but Steve Evans doesn't strike me as being a particularly conciliatory person. No, elephants have good memories, don't they? I don't know what that is. Mullet, Dobra's goal was the most eye-catching. I think we agree, but Vuspalami's more satisfying. Given the early miss, a bit of a maybe confidence takes a bit of a hit. There's a hat-trick of chances, really. But he, as we said, textbook run, textbook finish. Does all of that kind of get forgotten about, Craig?
It's again, he was quiet, wasn't he? But he's ended up with a goal. Joe's of the opinion that he should be one of the ones lining up to take that central slot if worst comes to worst and Hawkins decides to pull up lame. And he will be eventually, I'd have thought, but I don't think he really showed much out wide. Other than getting in the box and scoring a goal. Yeah.
Who would you, if you've had a choice of one spot on the bench for Saturday, would you pick Falami or Simpson?
I think if it's a choice though, I'd go Simpson, to be fair, because the Falami piece is, if Good Jackson's around, then he can do that more technical. I'm not saying Jackson's got great technique, but he's more technically minded than Simpson's more of a bulldozer type.
I think there's always a place for a physical
chaos.
Yeah, in League One. Falami's chance, HCH, I wasn't expecting it to come through to him. Okay, benefit of the doubt. First one looked like a pass to me. I think we agree with that one. Just looking through these. Apart from Wolfie and Dobra getting game time, did we learn anything about the others tonight? I guess thinking of players that might be close to the first team, Craig.
Yeah, I don't think we learned anything that we didn't really already know. We knew that McGavin was a tidy footballer who's more than happy to take the ball in restricted areas, isn't he? He's comfortable on the ball. As we said at the very beginning, it just looked, you could tell that they were all used to playing with each other, weren't they?
That's the first time we've said that now.
Yeah,
I started playing with each other.
Dinasian, I'm not sure of Dinasian.
Yeah, we haven't mentioned him yet.
Have we? No. I don't think
he could play anywhere across the back line.
I don't think Luke Chambers is going to be losing any sleep tonight, to be fair.
I mean, is it a missed opportunity to try Dinasian at left back? I thought he could play there. I thought he could play either for. I thought any of the back four positions. I thought Dinasian's played there before. Someone correct me in the comments. I'm sure I'm sure Danassian's got a
Bloody
history.
Hellsfield, mate. I wouldn't trust Danassian's right foot, let alone what his left foot's like.
I don't mind him. I feel sorry for Danassian, but yeah, he's not pulled any trees up tonight, has he? Good evening, Pete. Hello to you. Anyone want to say hello? We'll say hello back. Always loving to do that. Robert Smith, Lambert saying Downs doesn't need surgery, but will be out for 2 months. Is that? I always need to get, if my history teacher taught me anything, is corroborate your sources and check the bias.
Sources.
I'm sure
yeah.
Robert's a very trusty.
Robert, is that a medical profession 2 months or an Ipswich Town sports science 2 months?
Like Fiji time,
i.e. 6 months.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, right. Times it by 3. We'll double check on that one, Robert. But thank you for the.
Yeah, it's good that he doesn't need surgery, isn't it? But you could sort of tell when he went down on Saturday. You could tell when he was chatting to the physio that came on, Matt Byard, didn't it? He was sort of pointing to the top of his knee, then pointing to under his knee, and he thought, "Oh, this doesn't look particularly great." Yeah. This looks ligamenty.
Yeah, George corroborating that. Thank you, George. Ward out for this weekend. Any longer than that, George? Let us know. Mark,
that's good news in itself, isn't it?
Yeah, fingers crossed. As long as
not good news that he's out. Good news that he's not out long.
So if we lose to Blackpool on the weekend, though, Craig, and goals come down that left-hand side, the decision to play the game, does that now,
Yeah, but I don't know whose decision it was to play the game. Has it actually been said? And someone please comment if it has. Who has it been said? Who has decided to play this game? Because all I've read on the Ipswich website was the game has now been moved. Not we have all decided that it's a brilliant idea to do it. Because I don't think we would have chosen to play the game on Saturday, given the choice.
Moving on, Mark, Darren Ambrose's comment about Dominic Semmel was a particular highlight of mine. Yeah, and then he was professional, Mark. He got back in and corrected himself, so he didn't want to appear to be too harsh, because you don't want to throw a fellow pro under or another professional under the bus. But he wasn't a good night.
He was awful, wasn't he, Samuel? Bloody hell's bells. He was shooting from everywhere.
Ambrose's point was that he was trying too hard, perhaps. I love that cliche. He's hit that too well. He's trying too hard, Craig.
To impress the crowd.
To impress the crowd of cardboard cutouts, yeah. Let's do Paul. Hello, Paul. Baggett done great debut. Shame the other lads came on a few minutes too late to enjoy the moment, but overall great game and great performances. MH, who's on the verge of a starting place? As I can see, Nolan dropping off now with his side. Yeah, Nolan didn't have the best of games against MK. I don't know if that was just. I don't think anyone did. But Hughes has got to be a potential start at some point.
Yeah, I said on Sunday's pod with Dave and Mikey that Nolan on Saturday was last year's vintage Nolan rather than the current Nolan that we've been seeing this year. He was really back to horrible safe Nolan and not tackling Nolan rather than more all action getting into the box Nolan. But I don't know, because Bishop. Yeah, we're talking about again if Downs hadn't been injured, whether Hughes would have come on. So you'd have had Hughes and Downs in there just to add a bit more steel, because we were getting a bit overrun, weren't we? In the all match, to be fair, on Saturday. I wouldn't be surprised if we do make a change, and maybe Bishop is the one that gets left out for Hughes rather than Nolan, just purely because it's an away game and just get a bit more solidity.
Yeah, I think so. And that's probably fair. And Bishop, I think, needs. Yeah, he's played quite a few matches, and he's still coming back to it as well. Karen, this is a really good question. Which youngsters would benefit from the loan? We've now seen more of them. McGavin, Ndaba, Dobra. The only one I'd pick out there, Karen, and I'd be interested to get Craig's view on this. I just feel that Dobra can contribute something, don't you? The other two, I can see logic behind that. Any others, Craig, that you throw into the mix? But your thoughts on Dobra?
Yeah, you keep, especially because his mate's gone out to Cambridge. You need just a little jack in the box or something a bit out of the ordinary. And again, Ambrose spoke about it, didn't he, in the commentary, saying it's just an option to bring off the bench, who could just do something out of the ordinary and get himself sent off, or get one of the other players sent off, or create something out of nothing, or slam it in from the halfway line, or something like that. And appreciate Lancaster's probably got that last 15-minute slot sewn up for now, because his performances so far off the bench have warranted it, even though for some reason Alan Judge was brought on ahead of him at the weekend to
talk about that substitution.
Sweet Fanny Adams. But the bench is only so big, and the senior players. There's so many senior players. I'm not saying Dobber isn't, but ahead of him at the moment. But I'd have him on the bench instead of Judge, to be fair.
McGavin and Darby, you agree though? I think.
Yeah. They need to go out and play, don't they? I know. I just wonder. I was wondering it during the second half, whether Baggett seems to have come on leaps and bounds since he signed the scholarship terms. I just wonder whether they'll have him in and around the first team squad just to get used to the atmosphere and things. And Ndaba, I appreciate Ndaba's probably higher up in the pecking order for him, but Ndaba slips out and goes somewhere on loan, and Baggett just sees what it's like in and around the first team.
Yeah, that's a good shout. To Karen's point as well, League Two or National League, I don't think that's a question. But those three, certainly Dobra, they shouldn't be looking lower than League Two, should they? McGavin maybe, National League.
Yeah, McGavin maybe. Yeah, if he's going to play week in, week out, if you want them to play every single match, then yes. And Ndaba, you'd sort of think that Ndaba's at a similar level that Wolfenden was when Wolfenden went to Swindon, wouldn't you?
Yeah, exactly right.
Yeah.
No,
so I don't think there's any reason why Ndaba couldn't play League Two. I think McGavin might be just a league below, but I'd say keep hold of Dobra.
Mullet reckons I am assuming he means Danassian, played left back in the win Swansea. So there you go.
It's Danassian's fault that Hurst stayed on then, is it? Another reason.
And also another Mullet exclusive, guys, unless it's common knowledge, and Twitter is just evolving around Craig and I, and we're kind of in our bunker of ignorance. Watson said we agreed to the game before.
It makes sense.
Game. I want to shout out to our mate Dave Diamond, but I now can't find the comment. Here it is, Dave Diamond. Pretty sure I saw Cotter have a mare in the cup replay with Coventry at PR.
Yeah, didn't he? Yeah. That's right. No, he's right.
Good shouts. Yeah, a lot of people
down his channel, didn't they? Between him and the centre half.
Was he subbed at half time?
He may have been subbed early doors. Yeah.
And a lot of people now repeating the same stuff about the Blackpool game. Thank you for in the comments. Things move very quickly, unfortunately, and I can only pick one of these. Robert Smith, any reason Lambert left it so late to make the final two changes? That was interesting, wasn't it?
Yeah, especially once we'd gone 2-0 up and we're seeing the game out pretty comfortably. Because bizarrely at the time, the camera had zoomed right into Lambert, hadn't it? When he sort of turned around and suddenly saw two guys on the bench and sort of pointed at him to get ready, and it was 91 minutes or whatever it was at the time. So I don't think it even crossed his mind to bring them on. I think he was just more than happy just to see the game out, to be fair.
And flip side, Darren Ambrose was saying this as well. Darren Ambrose is getting a lot of mentions tonight. The 90 minutes and a clean sheet for a lot of those guys, particularly Baggett. I think he was who he was focusing on. Is also a big confidence booster as well. So I guess 100%. There's something in that too. Karen also jumping on my Danassian for left back bandwagon. Played there at Accrington. Have you definitely less of a risk than Kenlock? Loving this.
He's as you've said, Rich. He's a solid defender, isn't he? He's not going to offer you much, if anything, going forward. He's not going to offer you anything from right back going forward. He's certainly not going to offer you much from left back going forward. But if they just want to go away and have a solid back four, then he's probably he's a better defender than Kenlock.
Pete, this is a good point. A lot of people say we don't dominate a game for the full 90 minutes. No team really does. Are our expectations of a good Ipswich performance a little bit skewed, Craig?
Yeah. I don't know what match or what.
I think that might be my comment that there was moments in that game, and then we always seem to have moments where we kind of drift out of the game, particularly when we take the lead.
We did do last year a lot, didn't we? Last season we drifted across. We were hardly in games last year. Once the tide started turning. I think it's more a case of if you're not dominating the games, then you're at least managing managing the game, aren't you?
Yeah,
You might not have possession of the ball, but when you do allow the opposition to have possession of the ball, you're ensuring that the possession isn't anywhere that's going to hurt you.
exactly right. And Pete's point as well, second kind of follow-up point, is more about making sure you score goals when you're on top, which we kind of got into a dominant position, maybe scored a goal and then sat back. Or last season, particularly towards the latter end of the season when we weren't good, we just didn't convert that chance, lost confidence, and then conceded, and then just couldn't get back into the game, couldn't we?
Yeah, and what we did at Bristol, wasn't it? I always have this conversation with the guys that I go to matches with, is that you can sort of sense when opposition get a bit of a head of steam and they start to create a bit of pressure and they're getting on top of it. You think, and it's probably a football fan thing, you probably think, oh God, they're going to bloody well score it. And invariably last year they did. Whereas we never seemed last year to have that sort of concerted bit of pressure and just a building up and building. You think, time's it's going to come here, it's going to come here. Whereas this season, I think we have. I think we did at Bristol Rovers, and we just kept at it, didn't we? First half, we just kept at it. Didn't come off 0-0. But second half, we just kept at it, kept plugging away, and it came. And I think that's set them in good stead for this year, to this season. It just shows a bit of confidence that the way that they're playing is going to work. It's going to bring dividends.
We need to go quick fire, Craig. We're on 50 minutes, and I want to talk about Blackpool. So quick as you can. Judge still has a lot to offer, according to Bob Cart. Agree with this?
He hasn't offered it so far.
On paper?
Yeah.
Yeah.
No, absolutely, 100%. Crikey, I'd love that if he came in and started ripping it up like an international footballer should be in League One, with goals and assists and running games. Then absolutely 100%. But he hasn't yet, has he? And I appreciate, he's been played out of position. But even when he's played out of position, you can still look like you're going to affect games and, put in decent free kicks and create stuff from open play. And, just because you're supposed to be playing right wing or right midfield or wherever it happens to be, and they're drifting off everywhere. Well, okay, mate, you can do that if you wish, but make sure that you're doing something to warrant you deciding you are going to start drifting around everywhere. I haven't seen it yet. I haven't seen him produce much. Certainly on a regular basis, he hasn't done it.
I agree. Yeah, there's a point where there's enough time has elapsed where you have to kind of prove it. I'm changing subjects 100%. Different way here. Will Airy, hello to Will. One of the guys who donated on Acast, so thank you to Will. Evening, everyone. What other chocolate bar would you like an orange version of? I take an orange whisper. There is an orange 12. They exist. I'm big on my orange 12s, so that's an easy answer for me. What would you like an orange chocolate bar conversion of?
I'm not a great fan of fruit flavored chocolate, to be honest. I don't like mint chocolate. I don't like fruity chocolate. My son went through a tray of orange Cadbury's fingres at the weekend, so they're a thing. So to be fair, I don't mind the after 8 minutes you get in a curry house after curry, but that's pretty much it.
Will wants an answer.
Peanut butter in chocolate is the way forward. Well, let's not worry about and what they call Reese's. They know what they're up to. Let's not worry about putting fruit. Fruit's got its own thing. Yeah, fruit's got a bowl. Let's keep chocolate with chocolate.
Oh, Craig, I can see the anger on Twitter is just that I can feel the tension in the air now. But Will, I give you an answer. Orange 12s. You can available from Rawlinson's or something like that. A lot of people in the comments talking about
boxes may be soiled.
Yeah. A lot of people talking in the comments about technical issues with the iFollow. I'm afraid we are not product support for the iFollow, but follow the guys at ITFC. Dan Palfrey does a really great job trying to master the comments on a match day about camera angles and commentary and audio and stuff like that. The £10 thing is an EFL decision, not an ITFC decision as well, but lots of chat about different commentary and stuff like that. I'm afraid we can't really.
Yeah, the commentary started late, didn't it? Tonight it didn't come on till about 5 or so.
3 minutes before commentary came in.
Mine didn't. Yeah,
I was finding the shouting in the stands a little bit off-putting, but
but
apparently you can select home or away audio on the iFollow settings. So,
can you? I can't imagine. I don't know how many people would have paid £10 tonight, would they? Crikey, Seb paid for mine, so I didn't have to pay for it.
Happy days. George, can Dobra be loaned out to League Two? Is the window shut? I think there's a domestic window now that runs a little bit longer, doesn't it?
Got a couple of weeks, haven't we, for domestic? I think yesterday was the between international teams window. I think, wasn't it? I think I'm not entirely sure. Joel, no,
so
he's
sure.
the football manager guys need to be on top of this sort of thing.
I'm not sure Joe can get a signal to join us, but if you're there, Joe, hello to you. Let us know. Just finishing off on the comments. Keep them coming, by the way. Give us your predictions for Blackpool on Saturday, please. Just listen to Lambert's post-match cliche central. Incredible performance against a very strong team. Do you agree with that, Craig? An incredible performance.
Oh, for the as you were saying at the very top of the show, for the age of that team, that was a great performance, wasn't it? Really, regardless of who you're playing against, it was just a good, solid, professional performance. Nothing wrong with a 2-0 this season, is there?
No. Oh, although that's half the score that we managed compared to last season. Let's look ahead to Blackpool. I'm just looking through their results. I don't know where they are in the league. If anyone can tell me in the comments where they are in the league. I know tonight they won. They lost on penalties to Accrington Stanley, who were they in the EFL Trophy, and lost to Lincoln at home on the weekend, which I guess is no embarrassment. But defeat to Gillingham just prior to that. Have you got any opinions on Blackpool, Craig? Are they a team that we should be worried about? Let me, as you're saying that, I'll tell you where they are in the league.
I think that I think every team we've played so far has been in the bottom four, haven't they? So I think they've dropped into the bottom four.
I can confirm they are 22nd. Wow.
Yeah.
So really should be no.
Just above Fleetwood, aren't they? Yeah, Fleetwood have been bottom three at the moment.
Just below Fleetwood.
Just above Fleetwood.
I think they're below. 22.
Blackpool.
According to my league table. Fleetwood are 21, Blackpool 22nd.
Cool. Well, regardless, they're there or thereabouts.
In the low 20s.
We as we spoke about on Sunday, putting the Milton Keynes performance in isolation, it all revolves around how you respond to it, doesn't it? This weekend, and they need to prove that Milton Keynes was just one of those things, and everyone had an off day, etc., and that they'll come out all guns blazing and put in a performance on Saturday at Blackpool. They conceded 2 penalties, didn't they? Blackpool at the weekend. To David Johnson's son was running at him and getting tripped over in the box.
Oh, really?
Yeah, I think so. Yeah. So whether that's any indication that they're a bit rusty at the back and a bit a bit keen, bit eager. But
it was a lot of signings in there, new manager as well. So
yeah,
is it a cliche?
Nothing to be concerned about, is it?
Good time to play them.
Well, I don't think, crikey, if we're going to go away to Blackpool and start worrying about them, then let's pack up and go home, because in the whole scheme of things, of the teams in that league, let's not concern ourselves with Blackpool. If we can concern ourselves with Blackpool, we'll be concerned ourselves with the other 22, 23, won't we? I don't think there's any reason why we can't go up there and get a result.
I'm just trying to. Mark makes a really good point. Potentially up against Garbutt on Saturday. He came off the bench. I'm not sure. I don't know whether he's played more than that. But I guess it's one of those ones that football managers like to do, is chuck a ex-player against his old team. Would you expect to see Garbutt? And if that's the case, we should be avoiding conceding
free kicks. Yeah. They'll probably be looking at our free kicks, thinking, right, we'll give away as many free kicks as we can within 20 yards of the goal, and hope that Freddie Sears is stepping up to take control of them. Whereas, we probably want to avoid them with Garbutt. He's fine when Garbutt. He's a decent player, but if he's playing left back, then I'd fancy a chance to get him on the right wing. But then they're probably saying exactly the same thing about our left back, to be fair. So it could be the battle of the. I was
going to say, if they've done any research, don't know where to attack us. HCH 16th of October, the end of the domestic window. Thank you for that. So still plenty of time for loan business to be done. Also, HCH, Blackpool, my surprise underachievers, look like they bought well. I'm just trying to find their transfers now.
Yeah, it might be
that
it may be just a time. Crikey, if you throw that many players into a squad, then it'll just take some time. It may be that once they get a bit of momentum going, that they do start gathering a bit of pace. But I say at the moment they seem way off, so take advantage of it.
Yep. We need to be Blackpool. Can't be doing with that smug Garbutt. Should have stayed with us, MH. Tell us what you feel. Mullet's given me a prediction, 3-1 us. I just have, bad memories of that last minute defeat at Blackpool prior to everything kind of going wrong and Coventry and then COVID and so on. Nick Miller says ex-players always score against us. Yeah, it always feels that way, doesn't it? Craig,
ex-players always score against their teams, don't they?
Yeah. I'm going to put you on the spot, Craig. I'm going to get asked for a prediction.
It's 2-0 again, isn't it?
2-0 again, innit?
Yeah.
I'll go with that as well. I'll back that up. Craig, where can we find you on the Twitter? We'll do some plugs and then we'll say goodnight to everyone.
I'm at Fims75 and on listening to Popmaster every day at 10:30. Get on it, everyone. It's good. It's a good laugh.
Yeah, give Craig your thoughts on the Popmaster. Always worth comparing scores, which hasn't happened for a while on the old Blue Monday WhatsApp. We need to, but Mark, I know you've got like a little cabal of Popmasters.
Yeah, we have Andrew's on there as well. Yeah. There you
go. So yeah, find Craig on Twitter and talk to him about your Popmaster scores. You can find me at Ipswich. Thank you everyone for joining. All of our other details, I'm sure you guys know them anyway. But great to have you on, and thank you for the comments. HCH, great to see you as always, and everyone else. We will. I think we'll figure out another one next week. I'm not so sure what will happen next week. We'll tweet about it. We'll let you know. And also get well soon to Seb. Obviously, it's a shame he couldn't join us tonight, and hopefully he'll be back on soon. Craig, I'll let you have the final word.
Yeah, as I say, 2-0 boys. No problems at all. Get your money. Use our official betting partner from Indonesia to get your money on a 2-0 away win.
Love it.